Now after the shoot, we were smoking a doob, and that process of smoking a doob actually got me 4 other shoots from that client. And now obviously we do like regular jobs. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Dropping the Facade. I hope all of you are safe, and as you can see, we are doing a video call version of our podcast today. Today's topic is going to be very valuable and very insightful for a lot of you. So if you don't know, I am a photographer and a producer, and I have my own production house. So it involves me doing a lot of business, networking with people, talking to people, cracking deals and all of that. And I just wanted to impart some of my experience as to the things that I have done in terms of networking, which has helped me. And we will also be joined by Aashay. Aashay is a dear friend of mine. He used to work in a leading advertising agency and has recently started his own agency and is already working with some really big names. So we thought, why not impart the experience that we have in terms of networking so that it can help you guys. So stay tuned, and some really valuable insight coming on. Feeling comfortable on camera?
Kind of, man. This is my first time, so I'm a little awkward. I won't
नहीं
deny.
कोई बात नहीं bro, कोई बात नहीं. You're looking sexy bro. क्यों stress ले रहा है?
Arey, thanks. This is BF5B, bro. Pick for your boots.
Yeah, so that's another brand Aashay has along with his agency. So more reason why you guys should hear from us as to how you can improve your networking skills. So before we start, just introduce yourself a little bit for our viewers so that they know that we are slightly credible individuals to talk about this.
For sure. So, hey guys, I'm Aashay. I'm the founder of a very, very young startup. It's called Django Digital. So it's basically a startup that focuses on owner-led businesses. So I'd say that we're focusing more on smaller, not smaller clientele per se, but clientele where we get to interact directly with the owners or the marketing heads, because that way I feel like there's lesser, layers and levels to go through. So that's the kind of mantra that we have for Django. It's been operational since about 9 months, and prior to that, I used to work with Mr. Harshil Karia of Shebang for about 4 years. That's a little bit about me.
Right. And as a part of our jobs, I think it heavily involves, and I think that's the only way we bring in businesses, by networking with people and building contacts, building relationships.
Yeah.
So let's just
absolutely.
So let's just talk about the things that we have done and the strategies that we have applied personally, which has worked for us as of now.
Right.
Go for it.
So I mean, before I start talking about networking as a whole, I've like had this conversation a lot of times with Harshil as well, and with a lot of people from the industry. We're in the industry of, we're in the business of people, right?
Yeah.
So it's always about making sure that the network that you have, not only from a clientele perspective, but from the perspective of the people working at your agency, matters a lot. So I feel like network is beneficial to you on both ends. One is where it kind of benefits you from the perspective that, okay, fine, I need to attract the right talent, so I need to make sure that my network of employees are it's a good network firstly, and secondly, they're happy with what you have to offer as an agency as well. The other kind of network, especially in our industry, is the network that we build with the clientele.
Right.
And I feel like that in itself is also extremely important, because how else will you get the business otherwise?
Right.
Coming to a few pointers, I feel like I feel that would be important when it comes to a more practical approach towards networking. And I'm sure you guys must have already heard this, but I feel like the first impression really makes a difference. And that's probably going to go a long way, because that's how any person will remember you. The first, say, probably 15 to 20 seconds is what they will remember you by. So I feel that is extremely crucial. The way you project yourself, your confidence, all of that, I think matters a lot. So I feel like that first impression, and also then obviously following it up with showing what you have, showing off a little bit, not showing off per se, but at least kind of
showing that you are capable of it.
Yeah, exactly. You need to show that you're capable of it. Like
Correct.
you need to kind of talk the walk.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like love at first sight.
Yeah, kind of, man. It kind of is love at first sight. But then that love there's a lot of hard work to kind of make that person to love you even more.
The love should be on a retainer
Like
basis.
like yeah, exactly. Love should be on a retainer basis. Love
Yeah.
should love should be there till you die. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, it starts off with a like, I'd say, and then to kind of get them to love you more and more. It's
Hmm.
all about building that relationship, and
Right.
especially right now more than ever. One of the things we also keep on discussing is that we need to show our clients that we're building or bringing them value, rather
Hmm.
just transactional.
Right.
And I
Right.
feel
Right.
like during this time it's extremely important to show them that you are you are offering them a lot more value, because money is sort of a constraint for them, that you care for them, you support them, and you'll
Yeah.
probably do anything there is to retain them and work with them in the long run.
Right. So I feel like you covered a lot of things, like making a impression at the first sight, understanding your client, cooperating with them, having empathy for them. So a lot of
Yeah,
things. And I feel like these things come with experience, and just take notes who was listening. One point, and probably the most important point I would like to add here is that, and this is when I'm making a cold call, or I'm doing that first contact with the client, is that, get to the fucking point. People are busy.
yeah,
People are busy, they don't have time, and even if they have time, they'll pretend like they don't have time for you. So instead of faffing around, how are you, how this, oh, this, I always prefer getting to the point, telling them, okay, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I do. I know I can bring value to this through this, and to your product. So here it is. And I just lay it out there. And I feel like people appreciate that no bullshit policy. It has worked for me. Of course, you need to understand who you're talking to also. But this is a mantra I live by, that, like, just get to the fucking point. Saves time,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very relevant, because it also, this largely depends on who you're talking to within the organization, right? Most of your marketing heads, your top level CEOs, CXOs,
Hmm.
probably even a senior account manager
Yeah,
or a product manager, for them, it's very important that they control and limit their time throughout the day. So
exactly.
I think this makes a lot of sense from that perspective, being very relevant and staying on topic, and like sort of making sure that everything else you're talking about is very limited. So
Hmm.
I really like that. What I also, one of the pointers you mentioned was empathy, and I feel that empathy is very strong in the sense that again, I'm talking about in our industry.
Yeah.
uh, Empathy is also in the form of understanding your client's problems, because each client's problem is unique in its
Hmm.
own. So being empathetic about their problems, and this is more from an emotional perspective, understanding what their problems are, making sure that you guys are on the same wavelength is very important for you, because that kind of helps you to win over the business
Hmm.
a lot faster, I would say, or it makes it a lot more easy for you to gain the trust of your client, because then they kind of realize that, okay, fine, this guy thinks like me, he understands my problems, and therefore it will be easier for him to find a solution for it.
Right. You said something, and I was going to come to it, that you should always provide a value based service. So what happens is, I'll give you an example, and you'll probably relate to this. So there are tons of advertising agencies, digital agencies coming up in every nook and corner. What happens is that they score a client, do social media for them, then the thing runs out in 6 months. Then you look for another client, it runs out in 6 months, and eventually go out of business. Now the thing is, a lot of people, and especially agencies, advertising agencies, are focused on, all right, we'll do social media, we'll do your YouTube, we'll do this, we'll do that, but they're not really doing anything which is converting to sales for that client. You have to bring in real value, and that is something I feel people forget, even as photographers, as filmmakers. Like, often happens that we go there with the agenda of getting work. ठीक है काम तो मिलना एक पॉइंट है बट आई वॉट एवर यू आर ऑफरिंग विल दैट एक्चुअली एड वैल्यू और यू आर जस्ट एन आर्टिस्ट हु इज ट्राइंग टू सेटिस्फाई योर सेल्फ. I feel that's a very fundamental difference.
Yeah, I buy that. I feel like to a certain extent, you're absolutely right in the sense that you need to create that value for the client. But I also feel like it largely depends on the nature of project that you're handling for
Absolutely.
them, and of course everything cannot be sales driven. Like for example, photography, video creation, all are very subjective topics
Yeah.
in its on its own, and you will only probably understand if it's actually had an if it's actually created an impact on your business much later, when you can kind of analyze what was the spike in sale and things like that. So I
Right.
feel like yes, you are absolutely right that creating that value is by far the most important thing.
Right. Or at least have the intent for providing the value and not just
Correct, correct,
satisfying your need. I think that's a better way to put it.
correct. That intent needs to be there, and more than that, you need to show that intent to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Right. What else?
Another point that in fact I had was I actually have a couple of points listed down. Right. So one more thing that I've noticed in the as far as getting good referrals goes, or get like
Yeah.
networking in general, when it's the best, I feel is when you have a client who's satisfied with your work, rather extremely happy with your work, and then when he or she goes out there and kind of publicizes you get referrals
mouth.
through these clients, word of mouth. I think that by far is the best way for any agency to kind of attract the right clientele, because a client is only happy with what they've got if you've actually churned out the quality at the right price,
Right.
and b is when they
Quality at the right price. I think right price is that hidden word which people don't talk about.
yeah, so I mean, I feel like the right price is extremely like you don't want to undercut you want to undercut agencies at the start when you're growing, but eventually you've got to work towards bringing that balance back, right? I mean, you don't want to undercut all the time. Eventually you want to create value for
Right.
yourself as well as a brand. So from that perspective, referrals also make sense, because they know that I mean, there's proof of concept, right? There's proof of concept that somebody from their network has had a good experience with the agency, and I feel winning that kind of business is far easier than going out there and probably meeting somebody who at a bar or a pub or maybe at a party or even at an event like an awards function or ceremony or something like that. Far easier than any of that, because you already have proof of concept, right? You don't need to work with them from scratch per se to build that trust.
So would you say that, would you suggest for a startup to probably eat shit in terms of profits but deliver value to your clients for the first 1 or 2 years, and once they're satisfied, build on that credibility and gain more money, gain more profits?
So that's highly debatable. I feel like it honestly depends on how the owner wants to lead his or her business.
Right.
I feel like for me especially, there are you need to pick and choose your battles. So if you see value in a certain client because you see the leadership they provide as leaders of their own organization, and you see where that organization is heading, and you probably want to do you want to do great work for them, then definitely take a cut or take a hit on your profit margins over there. Where you see clients who are who are just using you as any other agency to get their work done, where you don't see any creative work happening per se, satisfying work happening, I'd say that's where you kind of increase your profit margins, or else then completely let them go, cut the cord.
So if
Because they're not going to add any value for you.
So if it satisfies your creative needs, it is still okay to let go of the profit to an extent. But if it doesn't, then might as well earn the money.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we're in the business of people, but we need to do good creative work. At the end of the day, that is the end result. So
It's
if
business
that is
of
not
people.
yeah.
Right, right. And okay, so this is one aspect of having a client and keeping a client. But for getting a client, I feel quantity is very, very, very important. I have sent, and I'm not joking, I have sent like 50 to 60 emailers and cold calls in a single day and have not gotten business from any of them. But I have done that and I will still continue to do it because you never know where it clicks with someone. And that quantity and consistency with that quantity is very important. And I have noticed this especially with creative individuals like photographers and filmmakers. They just sit at home expecting business will come to them. It will really not. You have to call 100 people and tell them about your existence. And once you tell them about your existence, also drop messages, emailers, and whatever else to remind them about your existence.
Absolutely. It's important because in the long run, it's going to benefit you because you
Right.
have all of these marketing managers, these brand reps from different
Yeah.
brands. They know that you are there to provide them a service at the back of their head. So it's good from that perspective, so that there's top of mind recall that कि हाँ मतलब देवदीप है बंदा एक देवदीप करके है जो मेरे लिए ये करेगा. And this is the range of quality that he can provide to you.
Correct.
So I feel that is extremely important from that perspective. However, conversions, like I said, definitely higher from the word of mouth scene. I feel like that's a better route to take, but one is not. I mean, both of them are equally important. They work hand in hand.
And the thing is, often you don't have the luxury of maybe a referral. If you're really fresh, you have to just call people and let them know about your existence. The hustle is harder there.
Yeah. At the start, it's actually quite hard because you only have your emailers, you only have a bunch of emails, bunch of people, and most of them are long shots. And the only other way of probably getting into their good books is either by doing some personal work that you are doing for yourself, but you've churned out some real good quality. Like, say for example, in the case of a photographer, if they have a great portfolio to show some of their personal work that they've done and they've kind of excelled at it, that's one way. And the other way to do it is by obviously undercutting most of the people out there, so doing it for as good as free, because at the start it's about also building your portfolio, and if you're willing to let go of the money and build your portfolio, it's just going to benefit you in the long run again.
Right. I'll give you an example. So right now we as our production, we get decent work in terms of like digital ads and videos and photo shoots. Now we are trying to enter the market of web series and feature films. So again, we have started from scratch there. Obviously, we have some advertising contacts which we are trying to exploit to get the connection there as well. But there are so many new people we are just dialing up, mailing, cold calling, and telling them about our existence, that okay, we've done ads, now we want to do this. So it's like we're going through that, what we went through like 3 years ago again. And it's a fun experience, honestly. I'm enjoying it. It's frustrating, but it's also fun. What's your first job, that first business you got? What was that experience like?
My first business is Django. I mean, my first proper business, at least according to me, is Django. I'd say that Big for Your Boots is more of it's more of like 5 friends getting together. It's more of a passion project that's happening on the side.
Right.
But like starting off Django in itself was a very it was a great experience, because I've never really thought of a business as a business before. I've never really known what it was to create your own business. So there was a lot of learning from that from that angle, just understanding how to set it up, how to make sure it's not just about it's not just about doing creative work. Then it's also about handling the finances, the accounts, making sure things happen on time, your taxes, payments, employee payroll. So all of that is kind of overwhelming at the start, but eventually down the line it kind of gets easier and easier because you understand it.
Right.
So, and also you have a lot of helping hands and
Right.
specialization.
And even if it
developed.
doesn't get easier, like always see that end goal. Okay, this is where I want to reach. So it doesn't matter. I'll go through all this. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, one very important point I'd like to add here, and this is probably my final point to add, is that one should always aim at building real lasting relationships. Because finally, like you said, business of people, right? So I know for clients, they often see their vendors as people who do impossible things for them just because they've asked them. But for us providing services, we should always remember that we are talking to a human being. So that connection, that relationship you build is very important. Like most of my clients, including the agencies that I work with, and we work all the time, like all of these guys are my friends here now, and it's not like I have made a deliberate strategy of becoming friends with them. It's just who I am. Obviously I still no, that's too much effort. Yeah. No, but the thing is, see, I still have clients with whom it's just a very formal relationship, but that relationship is also very clear. Okay, we mean business, ये करना है, ये deliver करना है, टाटा, thank you, have a good day, which is also great. But majority of my business relationships have become into friendships and personal bonds, and that's not something I have aimed at like, you know, personally, that okay, let me become this guy's best friend to get business. It's just who I am, and I feel like if people are a little bit more chilled out, at the same time providing real good work, this can happen, and this can lead you to long lasting relationships with your clients. You know, I've sorry to just cut you there. So when I was in photo school, my teachers used to tell me that your portfolio is the only thing that matters, that is the only thing that will get you work. They were half right, because I remember I got a shoot from a builder, okay, and it was just a 25,000 bucks shoot, very simple. ठीक है, हो गया. Now after the shoot, we were smoking a doob, and that process of smoking a doob actually got me 4 other shoots from that client. And now obviously we do like regular jobs. Almost every 2 to 3 months we do like really good budget shoots, but like that's a reality here. Smoking a doob and chilling.
Informal relationships also, I mean, like not informal relationships per se, but establishing a sort of informal environment post your formal work, whatever, is also equally important. And I absolutely get where you're coming from. I feel like there are a lot of clients who can build that kind of a relationship with. It doesn't work for everybody though. And it also, I think, holds true to a certain a certain, I mean, like, I wouldn't say level, but like, say, it probably won't work with the top level management if you're going to an MNC.
It can't be an excuse to do shit work. That chalna abhi to dost hai. Chalna abhi to tu dost hai.
And I don't know if you notice this, but mostly this happens when you are working with people who are young, who are probably 5 to 7 years plus minus. So I feel like the relatability over there is a lot higher. Building that informal sort of relationship does do wonders in the long run. Right, and I'm seeing that, like, us as us also benefit from that. So yeah.
And it's not a deliberate thing one should do, then it's going to be counterproductive. But it's always good to be chilled out as a person and be comfortable with the person you're working with. That goes a long way.
It can't be deliberate, right? It's either you like the person or you don't like the person. And if you don't like the person, then it's just going to be formal.
Yeah, and chances are that if you're working for a client, they are probably smarter than you in some aspects at the very least. So if you're faking it, they'll probably call you out, and it's going to hurt your business more than do good.
Yeah, for sure. That is a different topic altogether where you don't want to say anything stupid in front of your client.
Right.
But good talk, bro. Good talk. Very crisp, to the point. I feel like we didn't waste time digressing at all. We were just to the point, imparting our precious knowledge.
I think I mean, this is at least my experience, is that whenever people are imparting knowledge, I hate it when they're giving full-fledged, full-blown
Yeah,
stories about their lives. And
yeah,
cool. I
yeah.
mean, I get that you're probably reliving a certain part of your life, but I don't really want to know all of that.
Yeah, like give me practical points यार, like something I can really take away. Not bloody मैं चाय बेचता था अभी मेरे पास 10 करोड़ का बिजनेस है, ठीक है अच्छी बात है यार, बट give me some real concrete points, and I think we did that, if I'm not being delusional. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thanks bro. I think it's like what, it's 12 बजने आया रात को, but there's no stop to the hustle. All right. Yeah, thanks bro, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It was.
And people watching this, please like, share, and subscribe. A lot of thought process goes behind this, a lot of hustle goes behind this.
By the way,
So,
where is it? Where are you airing this podcast?
this will air on my YouTube and eventually end up on the audio platforms once I figure that out.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
nice, killer.
Yes,
Send me
yes,
the
bro.
links, huh?
I will, bro. Of course, you have to share it.
Yeah, obviously. That's why
Okay,
I
buddy.
asked. Cool.
Chal.
Chalo. See you.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.